of life at last I found thee. I know at last the secret of it all the longing, seeking, striving, waiting, yearning, the burning hopes, the joy and idle tears that fall. For 'tis love and love alone the world is seeking, and 'tis love and love alone that can repay. 'Tis the answer, 'tis the end, and all of living, for it is love alone that rules
Damn son, yeah I'm bad at handsome. Yeah your boy stay fresh to that, don't matter what the brand son. This will go one or two ways. You can be livid or dead. Wanna be on that warpath, I don't care.
Dig down at the DNC. Oh, dig down at the DNC. Yeah, yeah.
Who in the hell does he think he is? Who does he think he is?
First of all, I didn't recommend locking anything down.
And the record will show, Neil, that we didn't recommend shutting everything down. I recommended to the president that we shut the country down.
All I ask is, if we have to give these bastards our lives, we give them hell before we do!
The tragedy of our day is the climate of fear in which we live.
Talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing.
I would ask the congressman to withdraw that comment and tell us that he didn't really mean that.
What I call nastiness or
I don't know what I said. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The Bible commands that certain people be put to death.
Thieves or possesses weapons of mass destruction. 9/11 attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda.
Handle the truth.
I remember that which not smoke. We are still here.
We have to say yes to social justice.
No, it's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Okay, boys and girls, welcome to what's this? A second episode in less than 7 days, you say? You don't say. I do. Not that it's gonna be, all that it's cracked up to be. It's just, I found in doing one episode per week that's like 100 hours long, it's a lot of work, and I thought maybe breaking it up into here's a little bit of the leftovers later on in the week, or who knows what the second episode will be if we do these. We're gonna try. We're gonna see how it goes. We're gonna mix it up a little bit and try a couple things, possibly giving you guys some more free content and making my life harder while slightly easier. Dave is here. Dave, all the way from the great state of Delaware. Dave, how are you doing, sir?
Doing great, man. Not as good as Joe Biden, who's on the beach in Delaware, Rehoboth. If you go into Twitter and just type Delaware in the search bar, that's pretty much all you get.
Is that clip real that I've seen going around of him sitting in a lawn chair? Is that really him?
Bro, you know how I know it's him? Because he reaches over into his bag and grabs a very important
small child
folder and looks at it and sniffs a couple heads and then goes back to enjoying himself. Yeah, I'm doing great, bro. Good to be with you twice in a week. I'm very lucky.
Yeah, I did see that link. I don't have it pulled up, but it's an old man sitting in a lawn chair that the back of the head definitely looks like it could be Joe Biden. And would you be surprised if that's all he was doing at this point? And could you blame him? Could you blame him? Really? Soaking up that sun for his shriveled corpse. One last go. But before we get into anything too deeply, I got to remind you guys about my favorite sponsors: Autumn, Jacobs, Pangea, Sean Van Something, Carolina, Trashman, Maxwell, Meredith, Kimberly, Zanger, JC, Justin, Silas, Joey, Bonnie, Barry, Adam, Andrew, Donald, Matthew, Leah, Osmataz, Danielle, Sean Luke Picard, Stoney, Keith Thompson, STG at Level 0, Vanzot Media, Rick Something, Tim Brown, Howie Stone, Nathan, Mary, John, William. If you want to get your name on that list and have it read incorrectly someday, go on over to patreon.com/The System Is Down, where you'll get more weird, more raw, more offensive, more pretty much weekly content. We'll call it weekly content. But more importantly, you will support this show and all the silly nonsense that we do here. So if you want to support that silly nonsense, go to patreon.com/The System Is Down. And if you want more episodes of the show, if you want consistently 2 episodes a week, or dare I say 2.5 episodes a week, I'm not gonna get overzealous here, but if you want 2.5 episodes a week, just start giving more money, and it'll be more likely that we can justify it. And then I can pay Dave, and we can all live happily ever after through the apocalypse together. Now, that's that. Go do that. I don't think we're going to do a Freak of the Week today, because life. There's lots of life going on, and much life to be done. So we will just touch on some things here, and things that I thought were noteworthy that aren't going to be noteworthy within 5 days from now. And maybe we can dig a little bit deeper on them, or have a little bit more discussion than instead of just breezing through clips. But Dave, I got to ask, before we get into this, where were you at on the whole QAnon thing? Don't lie. Back in the day.
I thought you were going to say, where were you at on January 6th?
Where were you at on 9/11? Dave?
Right, exactly.
Were we dancing on a rooftop somewhere?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, where was I? What was the question?
How did you see the whole QAnon thing? Give us any sort of your QAnon arc back in the 2016 era, when it was exciting and fun and stupid.
This is where, again, me and you must have just been on different wavelengths at the time, because by the time that came along, I was like, bro, I grew up with Alex Jones. If I want that stuff, I'll go to Alex Jones. And it definitely seemed kind of like the whole thing was like the breadcrumb thing. Just wait, this thing is coming. That was my basic.
Dave, I'm with you. I was into the Alex Jones at some point too, but also there was Alex Jones out there saying, I know QAnon, I know him. I've got him on the phone. I've got his number right here. We're going to have him on soon. It was a big thing. And Alex Jones was insisting, for all the Alex Jones was right stuff, he still, he claims that he never supported QAnon, but I could absolutely find the clip of him saying, I know who QAnon is, and I will have him on the show soon. So...
What did you ask his wife who QAnon was when you had her on the show?
I don't remember if that was before or after all that spice, so I'm not sure.
Is that his ex-wife or the current wife that you had on?
His ex-wife.
Okay. All right, so she's probably not the one to ask.
Yeah, she didn't have the best opinion.
No, so I really wasn't paying close attention, but it gave the air of a limited hangout to me. So I was just that doesn't seem like if your neighbor... your regular boomer conservative neighbors, yo, did you hear about the conspiracy theory? You usually have to go search for those things. So yeah, I was skeptical of it from the beginning.
I don't know. I found it fun and interesting. It's basically it's one of those things that you're I want it to be true. I want it to be true that there's somebody in some position of power somewhere that is looking out for the best interest of humans and actually cares about us. I don't think it turned out to be true, but I did... I followed it close-ish. I didn't get into all the Reddit threads or anything, but I did have a guy on the show, a good friend of mine, who was way, way, way into it, and he had a show called QAnon Chronicles on this channel where he dug into that, and it eventually got us kicked off of Facebook and all those things once January 6th happened. So I'm a little bit hesitant to even put it in a title now, but there was a time when it was spicy enough and interesting enough that it was kind of like national treasure, but in real life, where you're I hope that there's something to this, and even if not, it's a fascinating thing to go rabbit trail to go down. I think ultimately it ended up getting a lot of people in a sticky situation on January 6th, where they had to go to jail for trusting the plan to some degree. But I don't know. I thought it was cool-ish. or at least interesting enough to look into on a conspiracy show when it is happening in real life at the time. And there was enough trickles and clues and things to make it interesting. Now, then Donald Trump got elected, and none of those things came to fruition. Then Donald Trump got unelected, none of those things came to fruition. And Donald Trump is now in the process of getting reelected, unelected. I don't know what's happening, and it seems to me that it's not still coming to fruition, but there were some things back in those days that I found interesting. There was this... one of the main rumors was that JFK Jr. is still alive, and he's going to be coming to power, and he's going to come out of the woodwork and change everything. I do think it is weird that we live in the time after that, where Donald Trump's gone through all of this story arc of magnificent proportions, and now we've got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Close. They were close. Maybe they had a bit of a typo. They actually typed JFK in their drops instead of RFK, but I don't know. Do you think, does it lend any credence to any of the QAnon stuff, Dave, that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is now supporting Donald Trump?
It kind of lends to the conspiracy that Donald Trump and or RFK are playing ball with the intelligence community. And next year is the year that's scheduled. Like, this has been on the docket, I think, since the early 2000s, or maybe the late 90s when it happened. But the JFK Jr. files are supposed to be released next year. That's when they're scheduled to. So if you have
again,
maybe
they were already supposed to once, weren't they?
Maybe, but 2025
it's been a lot of times that they've been supposed to be released, and then we get like another chunk with a whole lot of Sharpie. Not the JFK,
not the original files, the JFK Jr. files. So the plane crash that went down in '99 because he was toying with the idea of seeking the New York Senate seat, but at the same time, Hill Dog, black leather gloves, Hill Dog wanted that same seat. So his plane went down in a mysterious crash, and then she was elevated to the level of New York senator. No foul play, I'm certain. But those files are supposed to be released next year. So if you're the intelligence community and you're like, okay, well, a certain amount of stuff is going to come out around this time. Like, maybe you kind of need, just like a corporation needs like the best pitch guy, the best face job, as Monica Perez would say. Like, maybe a Kennedy is the best thing that they could hope for. Like, hey, let's put this guy in front of it and like make it look like we're kind of conceding some things or maybe admitting some things, but like in a...
So are you saying they're putting Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Donald Trump's going to put him in a position where he can release, but it's not for the good of the people. It's to soften the blow of the information that's going to be released because it's through a Kennedy, but he'll be on board by then, so he'll be there to vouch for everything. Are you saying that you don't trust Kennedy in this?
I'm saying he might be there to cleanse this, to maybe kind of absolve them of some responsibility in a way. That could be his function. Yeah.
Could be. I don't know. The main reason I bring this up, I don't know. Like, I stumbled across a clip yesterday. I keep saying I miss QAnon on Twitter just because I think it's funny, mostly. Because QAnon was more interesting than all the conspiracies we've got going on at the moment for the most part. But there's this one clip that brought me back to some of the Q days, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Dave, especially as somebody who didn't dig that much into the QAnon stuff. This is so this first one is, hold on, you can't see that, can you? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says, "This is only the beginning. Wait till the next edition, President Trump's unity government. Hashtag Unite America. Hashtag Maha." So the person brought this up that RFK is saying, this is only the beginning. Now, this is the kind of shit that QAnon was well known for, and that drive me insane, was like, see how he said this is only the beginning? Like, there's more to this, and they're not just done after. Does that mean that JFK Jr. is the next person that's going to be added to Trump's cabinet? Like, that's basically where we're going with this. As this person says, breaking RFK Jr. just announced that thing that I just said. Remember, RFK Jr. was asked to touch his nose if JFK Jr. was still alive. Enjoy the movie. Nothing can stop what's coming. So there are people still holding on to that theory. And now, when I read it, I was like, I'm sure this is nothing. There's nothing here. And then I watched it, and I find it interesting.
This probably would...
Pay really close attention to RFK. This is just him in an interview, and you'll see one of the comments there says, "Touch your nose if JFK Jr. If JFK Jr. is still alive." He immediately touches his nose. If this is a real video, he immediately touches his nose after that post is sent. Let me just try to line this up a little better so you can see it. Stop. I need to see the comments too down here. There we go. All right, Dave. Here you go. It happens real fast, but you can see the comment there. Touch your nose if JFK Jr. is live. I think there might be another one posted right after it.
This is extraordinary on so many levels. The Deitch memo, and this memo, all of the documents that are not in the public domain, and the Deitch memo is one of those documents. It was a discovery document that was given to me by Mike Hugo, one of the original lawyers.
Huh? Come on now. Look at that. I don't know, Dave.
Listen. I will entertain anything, but I have to assume that this is doctored, or that this is just, I can't, there's nothing that anybody could tell me right now that would make me believe that JFK Jr. is still alive.
Well, we have that evidence right there, Dave. That very clear evidence.
He just told you, though.
He said it out loud. You heard him. You saw it.
No, dude. Listen. I know we want Michael Jackson and Tupac and Elvis and John Lennon all to be alive, fucking chilling and talking somewhere on an island about how the government did them. And I'm not on that tip. There's nothing. There's no way that they could come out with that story. That'll never come out.
Why would it? I don't know that much about JFK Jr. I don't know, I'm sure this is going to be very offensive to say if anybody's tuning in for QAnon talk, but I don't know what the significance is of JFK Jr. If he is still alive, where has he been? Why has he been hiding? And what is it about now? What is it about, just because of Trump, he's going to now come out of the woodwork? I don't buy that.
That's absurd.
If he was waiting around for something, was Trump planned all along and he's just been hiding so that he could be the weapon? That doesn't make sense either. He was just shit sucks, and I'm just going to lay low until maybe someday some billionaire comes out of a hip hop episode of MTV's Cribs or something. And he's going to come in and be the guy, and then I'll do it. But not the first time, and not after he loses the second election. The third time, I'm going to come out, and I'm going to have my cousin touch his nose. That'll be the drop. That'll be it.
Yeah, I don't know. 25 years is a long time for a gag.
Right.
And like you said, dude, what? Oh, I didn't feel safe until Donald Trump, his second term.
It's all different now.
Yeah, now I'm good.
And during all the court hearings and everything, I bet JFK Jr. was just like, "Oh, come on, Trump, come on! I missed it the first time. I'm not going to get a second chance here if you get locked up."
There is nothing that could destroy the deep state more than a Kennedy coming back to life going, "I've been alive the whole time, bitches." That's great.
I mean, everybody has a lot of questions at that point, because it doesn't make sense for you to fake your death and then stay that way for, sure, if the CIA is after you and you manage to get away for 25 years, I guess, but I don't know. I'm not buying it.
Nah, he's dead, just like the other Kennedys are dead. They make sure that you're dead.
Yeah. Which, does that make you trust RFK less because he's not dead?
I already trust him fairly little. But the other day I saw this clip from Whitney Webb. She's been always based, but keeping it extremely real right now. It was a clip, I don't know how old it was, but it was RFK talking about, it was definitely before he endorsed Trump, because he was like, "Oh, Trump plucking J.D. Vance is definitely him signaling to the intelligence agencies and the CIA that that they're okay, that their gravy train will continue.
Yeah.
So he knows who J.D. Vance is. He knows about Palantir. He knows, Peter Thiel and what these guys have been up to. So it's interesting that, like, again, like we talked about the other day, he seems like he knows he's doing the best thing, but he's definitely probably uncomfortable with some stuff, ideologically and maybe, politically, who knows, like what he's really getting into or what he has been into. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
So in all of this, do you think that there is any Q out there? Do you think that there is somebody in power? Do you think that there is a savior? Not that they have it all figured out and they've got this elaborate plan to drop code to dudes on Reddit in their mom's basement and tell them about exactly how it's going to go down, even though it doesn't. But, like, is there somebody who is actually fighting for us? Like, between the Tulsi Gabbards, the Donald Trumps, the RFK Juniors, the Chase Olivers, of course, or anybody, is there anybody that you feel is actually doing it for us? Or are they doing it for legacy at best? Or are they doing it for nefarious reasons?
I don't think that there's anything that we're seeing out there really that's like making mainstream news that is a legitimate effort on the behalf of some, like unsung, unknown American heroes. But I do think that sprinkled throughout, probably more than, I don't want to say the majority of them, but I'm sure there's a good amount of people who like believe the oath that they take, when they get a job, like, within the federal government, and, defend against enemies, foreign and domestic. Like, so I'm talking mainly about people who are in the intelligence services. Like, I'm sure that there are lots of good ones. I mean, Alex Jones has some good ones, right? My sources are telling me that, blah, blah. He's had these guys giving him shit. Like, who knows? I don't know. Maybe there are some of the Q people, but yeah, I don't think that we're going to hear a whole lot about that. I don't think that would be how, like, we take the system down, is some like large scale unknown effort. Like, man, look what happened to Anonymous. Those guys, I used to think that they were like, like Q, right? And that was just like, what a joke. Probably an inside gig from the whole time. But no matter what they are right now is a fucking tool for the establishment. They're absolutely laughable.
It's leftist propaganda.
Yeah. So, I try not to put any faith in these kinds of things, or even put I don't want to go into any of their groups and chat rooms. I don't want anybody to try and Fed post me or bring me into any shit. I'm unaffiliated.
Well, here's I just pulled up some. I was looking for the clip of Alex Jones saying he knows Q, but I'm not sure what this is. But a Dr. Russell McGregor says Alex Jones brags that Q is real. He admits Q is an operation of patriots at the highest level of intelligence. He also says InfoWars initially promoted Q. This means real Alex Jones has knowingly demonized Anons for strategic purpose. He knows disclosure is coming. So apparently we're holding on to that. Let's just see. This is a short clip.
And again, I know all the inside baseball folks. I don't try to sit up here and brag about this stuff, but I talk to Republican leadership. I talk to the patriots that are in intelligence, the highest levels. And they tried to recruit me when Trump first got in to officially work in their operation. And I respectfully declined. I said, I want to work on my own. And it's too cloak and dagger. I had to be separate from government. But I was involved in the first launching of Q. And again, I know all the info.
Whoa, what? That's it. That's the end right there. So now if I'm understanding this correctly, we now have Alex Jones in the past saying, I know Q, I'm going to get him on the show. Trust me, I know him. He never came on, shockingly. And then eventually, which I'm sure I can find these, Alex Jones like railing against Q because Q got everybody into this mess and it's all fake and you guys need to stop it. And now it sounds like he's saying that he was offered a job and he was part of the launch of Q, whatever that means. And according to this guy, that means disclosure is coming. I don't think that that's what that means, but it does seem like there is a part of me that wonders if they're going to try and resurrect this thing, and if so, how we should be looking at it. I think people need to go back and do some digging on like some of the Q posts from the past or some of the claims from the past that some of them could arguably have come to pass if you twist this or that or read into something, and a whole lot of it that seemed to be flagrantly incorrect was flagrantly incorrect, much like a lot of what Alex Jones says. But if he's going back, which I'm not entirely sure that that's what this is, if he's going back to, hey, actually this was a thing, and I'm saying that because I helped start it, and I knew the guy, I told you, right after I talked to the government and told him I want to stay out of the government, Q started, and like, I don't know, it's Dave, you're muted.
It reminds me of how Tucker Carlson in college like tried to be a member of the CIA, and he talks about that. But unfortunately, I just didn't have what it takes. On to the next story, though. Like, so you know that there's like a literal paper trail of you like trying to, and he says he tried to apply to multiple agencies.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that that's interesting. That like, okay, now you got this group of guys in 2024 who were like the heroes of the anti-establishment movement, but they definitely have ties to the establishment.
Right.
That's it. Like, but if you're talking about Tucker or Elon or Alex
or Alex Jones being Bill Hicks. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's when you kind of lose me again, bro. I think those guys are both.
We all have our lines.
I know. All right. I want to believe you. But
well, here's another take from Alex Jones.
I mean, look, I love you, Adam. Did you hear what I just said in the lead up to that? What did I say to you right before you responded back with, yeah, I know somebody was giving out good information?
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm a little nervous. I might have.
No. It's okay. It's okay. You understand that we lost the country because of Q.
Yes, sir.
And I have to put up with the Q people all over the place. And I'm tired of it. So I'm not mad at you, but you hit a button here. And the damn Q people were the ones that manipulated some people to go into the damn Capitol and worked with the feds.
Nazi
Q is the worst people on earth at the top. Q is the New World Order. Q is a psyop to lead us around by our noses.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, see, dude, you've already done the research. You lived it. Now you can give us the A and B. I'm just like the dots for us.
I'm remembering this right? Like, you can't go back and forth that much on a thing. And like, I haven't kept up with that much with Alex Jones. And that first clip of Alex Jones seemingly being more like backpedaling and going more in favor of Q again. I wasn't familiar with that until like right before we got on here, so I'm not entirely sure, and I want to do some more digging, but I think it's definitely something to keep in mind as this whole Justice League of the Kennedy, or not the Kennedys, but Kennedy and Tulsi and Trump and all this, like, it feels like another setup, like another, yep, this is the big one, this is what the moment we've all been waiting for, and I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Maybe the Uniparty is creating the Uniparty. Like maybe they're doing away with the trickery of America doesn't need political parties. Like we're just one America, and
we're all just MAGA and
we're all whatever this new thing is that all these people are a part of. This is absolutely possible. So keep your eyes open, even if look, they're saying lots of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I retweeted another piece of Trump's content on Twitter because it was him and Tulsi and RFK, and it was all they were talking about throughout the whole thing was peace, prosperity, no war, like all the stuff. That's what you want to hear. That's what I'm looking for from anybody.
Red meat,
but not just red meat though. Like, dude, I've never seen certainly the Republican Party say that in my lifetime.
You've never heard the Republican Party like directly call out neocons by name,
right? Dude,
not their
I
names individually, but neocons.
I cut my teeth on George W. Bush. Like he triggered me. So I came in like knowing that these neocon pieces of trash were, enemies of mankind. So obviously learned my lesson. It's not just just singled out to one single party, but it's really cool to see no Bushes and Romneys and Cheneys at the RNC. Like, I think I feel like that has to mean something, unless it's just, bro, mafia faction after mafia faction fighting for shit. This family is about to die out, so whatever's taken over, and they might actually be worse than the other one, like down the road. I don't know, but you're certainly saying the things I want to hear. And like our buddy Dylan was saying, earlier today. Dude, as long as like their pump is, if the public is getting that message, if the public is getting, hey, this is your country, you know, like keep it. You have a lot of good, you know, liberty. Give us that shit. Feed us the Constitution. Give us the Bill of Rights. Give me the Fox News talking points. Make sure that that's what's being propagated.
Even if you don't believe it, keep putting it out there, please. And we will encourage you to keep putting it out there. Even if we don't trust you as you're putting it out there, keep putting it out there, and we'll keep clipping it and sharing it with everybody to show that everybody agrees, right? Everybody agrees we shouldn't have war. Donald Trump said that. Everybody agrees we should free Ross, right? Donald Trump even said that, right? Doesn't mean we trust him. Let me see. One more. We are doing some. This might be more what we do with Thursdays, is some of these on the fly things, because I do want to dig a little bit into some of these, the history of Alex Jones and QAnon. Not that I have a lot pulled up here, but stuff's coming to mind, and it seems like it might be relevant.
Then Flynn, and I've had dinner with him and talked about this. Flynn tried to go in and say, okay, yeah, Q, and then so he could try to lead it to get out and vote and be motivated and be involved. That was good. Hell, I told Flynn at lunch once, I said, listen, there is no real Q. You're the most senior person out there who knows how this stuff works. Why don't you just come out and say, I am Q now? And then.
So we've, at best, we've gotten very mixed messaging from Alex Jones. Yeah, and I'm curious to see where this goes, but I wouldn't be surprised if it came back to some degree, but it was spun into some sort of other organization, some other name that tries to play off the same thing, which would make it even less trustworthy. But you know how all the projects in the government of like MK Ultra and stuff that come back as like Operation Don't Feel Bad No More, or like Think Smart. There's always a rebrand once something starts getting called out. So I would imagine that if some flavor of QAnon resurfaces or comes back, it'll probably have a wink and a nod to the last life, but it'll probably have a new skin suit on. What do you think, Dave?
I don't know. My opinions have shifted a lot over the past year and a couple years. But if I had to guess, bro, it's probably a Mossad job. That's my guess, is that's probably coming from over there. Could be wrong. But I think they're probably in cahoots anyway. Yeah. Well, why isn't, I don't know. This is crazy, all the Alex Jones stuff. And when I said I was an Alex Jones guy, like I came up on Alex Jones. So I wasn't listening to a lot, if any, during like the Trump years. In fact, I remember that really pissing me off.
Yep.
He's redeemed
That's
himself
kind of where
in
I fell
recent
off.
times.
Yeah.
But like I learned, just like Jordan Peterson, fucking up right now, but I learned a lot from you, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Same for Alex Jones. But that's real fishy. First clip. Yeah. Oh, I was at the inception of when we created Q. I was there for that. And they tried to get me to be a deep part of it. And I was like, nah, I want to stay on the outside. And then the next clip is like, these people who created Q are giving
destroying this country. Yes.
Destroying this country. Right. And, and then the next one. So I'm out to lunch with General Flynn, and he's been like, kind of riding this Q thing. And I'm all like, well, why don't you just tell people you're Q?
Right.
Are you guys caught up to speed? Like, this is very shady behavior. But he's telling us this. This isn't like...
Again, I didn't have Alex Jones on the list of things to talk about today. I just pulled it up, and it's there. It's not hard to find. And if you want, these weren't even the clips that I was looking for, because the clip that I was looking for, he said, I was going to have Q on the show the other day, but I didn't. And like he said that multiple times. I remember vividly watching it as it happened, and still no Q. But Q destroyed the country. Q is not real. He had something to do with it. Back and forth. This is your guy, y'all, not mine. It's fine. Speaking of people in skin suits, here's Nancy Pelosi. Dave, let me know if you think she's saying the quiet part too out loud.
They didn't know what they were talking about. We know we're different from the presidential. We're very discreet, reptilian, cold-blooded. These are the races we have to win. Others are winning the whole country. 10.
Discreet reptilian people, that Nancy Pelosi. We're not like the other boys and girls. Because we're wearing the skin suit for real. We're cold-blooded killers. And this is all metaphor. You know that because I said it on TV. PBS.
They say the quiet part out loud, bro. And they do a lot of like signaling too. Like I feel like this way. Kate Middleton, I'm sure she's not, you can't just go to the press, can't just do interviews, whatever. You're like married to the prince or whatever. When she got, I wonder how, I can't imagine it was a mistake or a coincidence. But when she had her baby, the possible Antichrist, she wore the same outfit that Roman Polanski did in, what was the movie with the satanic kid? It was a baby that turned out to be whatever, like the spawn of Satan.
Like
but she wore the same exact outfit.
Baby or something.
Yes, that was it. Comes out in the same exact outfit. Like I feel like maybe that was her trying to like tell you what's going on, or maybe I don't know. But yeah, lots of stuff on the sly. They put it out there like that and kind of let you know what they're up to.
They seem to. And it's not a great idea to just completely break the flow of conversation, but I'm going to, because there's something else that happened in the world this week, and there's going to be a lot of scattered things throughout this. Something happened just yesterday, actually, that I found quite amusing. Dave, you're familiar with, and my lovely wife will love that I'm going to defend the band Linkin Park, but you're familiar with the band Linkin Park, yes? You know, they were the top rock band in the country at one point.
I'm familiar. I sat across the cafeteria table from Chester Bennington one time.
Son of a bitch.
Yep. We did Project Revolution, not to brag. I was there for 3 weeks, met all the bands that you'd love. Taking Back Sunday, maybe you've heard of them.
Shut up, Dave.
My Chemical Romance, no big deal.
I hate you. Now, yes, there is a bunch of conspiracy stuff around Chester Bennington that we can get into because we are a little bit more lax here in the Thursdays. But did you dig into any of like the Chester Bennington is secretly John Podesta's son and shit?
I saw that.
Yeah.
That's red meat for me. I was like,
and
they actually do look like a, yep.
Everybody who kills himself is always trying to expose pedophile rings immediately after they die, but nobody heard about it before they died, and then suddenly everybody's like, well, it's because of this, and I would like to believe that that's true, but I will need evidence, which is where you guys come in. Dan at tsidpod.com. If you've got evidence, I would happily look into that sometime, but yeah, for now, this is apropos of nothing. Linkin Park is still doing something or not doing something. The only reason why I bring this up isn't because if they just put out a new album, it probably wouldn't come up on this show. But they did something that I really enjoyed, which was troll the fuck out of everybody. Because Linkin Park so the other day they posted some cryptic shit on their Twitter, and they're like, hey, go to linkinpark.com for a thing. And then you go to linkinpark.com, and it was a countdown timer from, I don't know what it started at, but it was at least a day-long timer. And I imagine there were a lot of dorks sitting there just watching this timer, waiting for something to happen. Actually, I know that there were, because they've pointed out that it glitched at 9 minutes and 15 seconds, and at 9 minutes and 5 seconds it glitched. Like, they're getting really QAnon with the Linkin Park stuff, which, from a marketing perspective, I find brilliant and fascinating and great. So they're like looking through these codes and everything, and then it finally gets down to the end of the timer. Dave, did you see what happened at the end of the timer by chance?
No.
Okay. I don't know who this is, but they watched the countdown to the end, and here's their reaction to it.
Oh.
So it gets to 0, glitches. And it just starts counting back up. Oh, just beautiful. And to my knowledge, it's still counting up now. A day or two later.
No creo, no. No me digas otra finor.
Poor guy.
I mean, at least he's
he's okay about it.
Good-hearted about it. Who knows what all the other like very depressed Linkin Park fans, how they're taking this, but
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to look up the website and see what's going on now. Oh, we're at 26 hours and 22 minutes and still counting
Awesome.
up. Yes. It says be a part of something September 5th. So the QAnon people in this case were right. Something is happening on September 5th. They did catch those glitches and those subtle hints. But yes, I just found it to be a great troll, and it somehow worked in with the QAnon stuff quite well that everybody was right. Because the only things, the crazy conspiracy theories that I saw like, oh, the dude from Sum 41's going to take the place, or the dude from this is going to take the place, whatever. The dude from Sum 41 just came out and he was like, no, I'm not, that's not happening, but
I ain't doing that.
I have a book coming out while you're here if you'd like to go
Yeah.
buy it. Then now I guess September 5th is the case. So, dear QAnon folk, who has been more accurate in their noticing of clues and predictions? Is it Lincoln Park fans when they noticed a number that had actual significance, it would seem, or is it you who lost an election? Anyway, not to completely alienate my base, because I love the national treasure folks of modern day. I love you, and I like that you are that into it, because it gave content to my show at the very least. Even if you were getting duped, I was there with you, and yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah. So, by the way, yeah, if I haven't been clear about that, I'm not fucking with people who might have, like, if you came in, like, you got red pilled around that time, around Trump, I could totally understand how that would bring you in. And I'm not even saying that it was, I just don't know enough about it. I'm sure that there was some true shit that came out of that. So yeah, but these are our people. That's what I'm getting at. If you were down with that, like, we're all searching for the truth, and it's all good, and we're all in it together.
If it's true, I am down. Tell the truth. Just if it's true, convince me. I'm all for it. But if it keeps proving to be incorrect, maybe just check the source and see if they're trustworthy, or if are they telling you the full truth and nothing but the truth, or are they telling you 6 lies with one truth that keeps you stringing along, like I feel like Alex Jones has done over the years. Again, not to besmirch Bill Hicks or anything. I love the guy, but
no, but dude, this is a good, like, this
was
could be
he
a
right on
whole-
QAnon, or was he wrong on QAnon? Because you can't be right and tell the complete opposite of the thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and it's getting harder to tell and harder to, like, let's say this: if the Donald Trump, RFK, Tulsi, Tucker, Alex Jones, Elon connection is a deep state plot, we're fucked.
Right.
That's fucking crazy, because they are, like, that is, it's becoming such a big thing. Everything's getting pulled into it. Like, Luke Rudowski, who's been, shoving his microphone in tyrants' faces for the better part of 20 years, is like, he's friends with these people, or friendly with these people. So, Clint and Dave, like, these people are cool with some of the best dissident names in the game. So hopefully, dude, they're not all part of a deep state plot.
That would be great.
That would.
Yeah, I mean, it is the blessing and the curse of people like us. It was the countercultural, like, lack of trust for the system that got us to the point of being like, Alex Jones isn't an evil Nazi or whatever. But then it kept going if we kept paying attention. Like, he's a human and he can make mistakes. But things like QAnon, it's like, how am I supposed to trust you? Because you said both. You said 2 very polar opposite things very intensely. And what am I supposed to do with that? Because you knew the guy, and you knew that it was General Flynn, and you knew that you were going to have him on, and then you didn't know the guy, and the guy tore the country apart, and now you might know the guy. I don't know. Like, you weren't telling the truth at some point. You couldn't have been. Sorry. Now, back to RFK a little bit, because RFK is, per the title of this episode, RFK is being held hostage, Dave. Have you heard?
I have not heard that, but that makes good sense.
RFK is being held hostage. I feel like RFK is being held hostage by a lot of people, but mostly he's being forced to be on the ballots that he has chosen not to be on. You know, from Johnny MAGA, not to get ahead of myself. This Michigan's Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, she's refusing to remove RFK Jr. from the ballot after he suspended his campaign and endorsed Trump. She's also the woman that sought to remove Cornel West, who hurts Kamala, from the ballot. She is a complete partisan hack. Now, this video clip I've seen going around, I can't tell, Dave. Maybe you can. And I'm not the smartest of men. I don't know what she's talking about, if this is something current or if this is just something that they pulled up to be like, see, this is the type of woman she is, to go along with the fact that she's doing this thing. I don't know if there is a clip of her saying that she's going to force RFK to stay on the ballot, but what do you make of this?
If someone were to violate the law and not certify the election at the local level, we will come for you. So any local certifier thinking of skirting the law and not certifying the vote, don't even think about it.
I assume this is about Trump. Saying that when Trump doesn't get the vote, we will come for you if you don't certify the election, if you question the election type thing. So I'm pretty sure that's a throwback clip, but yeah. Nice woman. She seems like a good person, but it turns out she is one of several states that is not putting up with Kennedy's decision to remain on state ballots in states where it will hurt Kamala and not stay on state ballots where it will potentially help Kamala or split the vote. And to explain that further, we do have Nicole Shanahan just went on Dave Smith's show. That's a good face from Dave. Thank you, Dave. But yeah, let's get it from her first.
Like, once we endorsed Trump and suspended our campaign and ended, they've actually since doubled down on us because we're trying to remain on some of the ballots. Our agreement was we would bow out of battleground states. And you want to hear something really crazy?
Sure.
They won't let us pull out now, withdraw from certain ballots because they think that us being in hurts Trump more now. They finally caught up to the numbers.
That's really, I read something about this and I was like, is this real? They're actually fighting against you guys pulling off the ballots because they think that hurts them. That is really something.
Shut up, Dave. We were told to believe that that this would never work. This strategy could never work when Angela said it basically against, or not against, but in favor of Chase Oliver. We were supposed to believe that this was not a smart political strategy, but now we have the Democrats doing it. I'm not saying that they're any smarter in doing it because it's not, I don't think it's a good look when you just tried, tooth and nail to keep Kennedy off the ballot for the last 6 months. And now you're like, bitch, you're staying. You're ours now. You're staying here.
Bro.
Go ahead.
This is all. Remember the other day we watched that clip with Quentin Tarantino? Yeah. All the talking and all the fluff and all the show is just, it's all bullshit. It's all an act. This is only a power struggle. And that is exactly what is being exposed here by that Iron Box lady who we were just watching before this clip. When they can use you for their own good, they will. And when they can hurt you the other way for their own ends, they will do that too. So no, I'll file this under not shocked at all. Mm-hmm. And it's funny though to watch the kind of parallels that our third party and this third option is going through. Because usually that's what you come down to is that, like, you just discover that you might have all of the idealistic, pure intentions, and you might have the philosophy or whatever down. But at the end of the day, your little party or your little candidacy compared to the whole shit show, the whole storm, you are a part of that ecosystem. You can't just exist outside of it. So you can't decide that they won't use you like that. You can't decide, the Libertarian Party can't decide that it won't be used by Republican and Democratic hatchet men and women for their own ends. You can go in with blind eyes and assume that
the best you can do is use them back, is to use them in reverse.
Look, Quentin Tarantino is correct. Quentin Tarantino is correct. This is politics. Do not confuse that with your libertarian philosophy or like your passionate issue or whatever. If you want to play politics, it is about power and power alone. And all the other shit is Dan Smotz propaganda.
Damn straight. And on the idea of using them back, so amazing that, we live in a time where somebody like a Dave Smith can have a Nicole Shanahan on and be like, hey, you are, you are the running mate, or you were the running mate of this Kennedy guy who is now like allegedly pretty close to Trump and who's probably allegedly going to be the next president of the United States. We've got the ear of the ear of the ear at the very least, which is more than Joe Jorgensen had. Seems like more than Chase Oliver currently has. So politics be damned in the sense of actual running. Dave Smith has got somebody who's got the ear of somebody who's got the ear of Donald Trump on standby to discuss things like this.
But it's not as if like the battle isn't over after Election Day. It's like no matter what happens, whether Trump wins or Harris wins or whatever happens, it's like that's not the end of it. It's not as if even if Bobby Kennedy had won the presidency, it's not just like, all right, job done. That's it. He got in. It's like, no, now is actually the beginning of all of this. And there's going to be a lot of different, I think, elements that will be needed if we were to ever restore sanity in this country or just get us not headed off a cliff. But no question. I mean, like, I think there's going to have to be wealthy people who put their money where their mouth is and put, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't work without that. But also, you're going to need pressure from the people on whoever the president is. Like if we really do want to take on some of these incredibly entrenched, powerful special interests, you're going to need a citizenry that has like constant pressure on the political class. So it's good. It's not just even about this campaign. It's about the future of the country. And like, I do think that between like with the MAHA and the MAGA people, it's like if they can be like kind of laser focused on some of these important issues, we're going to need that and beyond just any presidential election cycle.
Now, before she responds, I do want to get to her response, but before she responds, I got to say that keep in mind what that setup was. That the premise was basically just coalition building. There are some things that we agree on, some things that we disagree on, and this is not how politics has typically worked, but we can do that, and it seems like we're doing that. It seems like we're going that direction. He had talked about a couple of issues earlier on, just kind of in passing. I think it's important to note that this is not a result of him asking a question about a certain topic. He's just saying coalition building, and the first topic out of her mouth, based on the very brief time that it was even mentioned, like it was mentioned earlier on in the conversation where he just said like, your supporters, the Kennedy supporters, the Shanahan supporters, they've been the most respectful, even aside from like the DeSantis ones, the Kamala ones, obviously, even the Donald Trump ones are not nearly as respectful and as open-minded and as willing to listen to a conversation as the Kennedy supporters were. So he's given them a bit of an olive branch there, and he briefly mentioned this next topic, but that is about a half hour ago at this point, and the first topic that she brings up is this.
Yeah, most definitely. And, my next hope is that those people that are upset about Gaza, for which I am also upset about what's going on in Gaza, this is a big issue, that we can, and I think this is achieved best if we fix our role as America and what America's role is in all of this, define it. I think Thomas Massey has done a really good job talking about how you can be pro-America and put America first, and you don't have to pick a side between Israel and Palestine. And that actually lends to great strength as an American, especially if you're an independent-minded American. There is a potential for a two-state solution.
She sounds like if Kamala Harris knew anything.
If the Democrats were still saying stuff that wasn't corporate sponsored, like just what Democrats are supposed to say, that's what Democrats are supposed to say.
sure, it's still a pretty safe answer, I'll say, but it's not even an answer. It's not. She's bringing this up on her own, and she's like, I know that that's an issue that you guys have with Kennedy, and I would like to address that and say, I'm not sure. I think that we need to do what's best for America and figure it out. Like, if there's any value to the whole MAGA movement, it should be to make America the focus of tax dollars that are being stolen from people. Not
This
like
is great. This is so great, dude.
Yeah, just pushing. She knows what the conversation is. She knows what the criticism is. It doesn't even have to be said. But that's been our biggest issue with Kennedy, obviously. And who else is even asking the question? Dave has already had Kennedy on to rag him on it. And that's what came up earlier. And now for her to just be like, we get it. We get it. We can't ignore this anymore. I think it's great.
Yeah. And there's this, Kennedy was talking about it too. He's like, this seems to be like it's built into the MAGA alliance, if you will. Like, they don't have to agree with each other on all shit. And they make that known. He's said it. Like, yo, I'm on the Trump team right now, but like that doesn't mean that we agree with everything. I know this is the heart of like coalitioning, but that's cool that Nicole Shanahan is out there going, now that, hey, all right, I'm not your vice presidential running mate. I mean, I guess technically she still is, but she's like a free agent now. You know, I'm on your team, but I'm going to go say the stuff that I want to say.
Yeah, I'm on your team on this, this, and this, and we disagree on the other things, and that's fine.
Yeah,
but
or you know, maybe they're
things.
Maybe they're right. Maybe they're blackmailing you, but they're not blackmailing me. So I'm going to go say this on Dave Smith's show. You know, I think that's really, really cool. She's even said stuff like, "Oh yeah, hundreds of people emailed me and told us that we're being duped by Trump." It's like, yeah. I hear you, but no, I don't. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth what. Yeah. They're just not out there parroting stuff or like you know, waving flags. I think that it's just a good sign, dude.
Yeah. Well, when the whole Gaza thing kicked off, Kennedy had the shit take, and everybody was like, "Oh, great, and that's been a big criticism, and it hasn't been brought up by almost anybody except for Dave Smith too. Like, we haven't heard Kennedy talk about it in his speeches all that much. We haven't heard Nicole Shanahan. We haven't heard them go out and be like, rah rah Israel or anything. And it was brought up in a bit of a contentious back and forth between Dave and Bobby. And now, like, for them to be to the point where it's like, yeah, we're not even really politicians anymore. We're just having a conversation, and we have some influence here. And I just want you to know that to some extent, we're not completely in disagreement on this. We think that some things are fucked up here. Let's start there and go from there. And now, he's not a politician necessarily, but he is, because, you know, he'll still say what he's got to say, because if you throw it back a little bit, RFK Jr. said, just to quell any speculation, under no circumstances will I join Donald Trump on an electoral ticket. Our position on certain fundamental issues, our approaches to governance, and our philosophies of leadership could not be further apart. Could not be further apart. Fundamental issues, approaches to governance, and philosophies of leadership cannot be further apart, which that is extremely vague, and he gave zero examples of what his differences are, but yeah.
But he said
Vance
he wouldn't
said the
join
same
him
thing,
on a ticket. He said he wouldn't join him on a ticket, which he has not. He got J.D. Vance to join him on a ticket.
And Vance did kind of the same thing, called him like the American Hitler or whatever. So it's like, I don't know, does it make you trust these people more because they changed their mind and they decided to eat a little bit of crow to do what's right for the country? Is that what it is? Or is it Nikki Haley saying, yeah, I completely hate your guts and I wish you would die, but I will do it for the job?
I believe Bobby Kennedy when he said that bringing on J.D. Vance signals to the intelligence community that you're going to be just fine. If you leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. That's how you say that without saying it.
Who said that? Kennedy?
Kennedy said that. Yeah.
Kennedy said that Vance was a signal that they would play it, that Trump would play it safe.
That Trump.
I didn't hear this clip.
Yeah, I think this is on my Twitter page. But yeah, something to the effect of, yes, this is signaling to them that their gravy train will not stop. Like, you'll be fine. We'll leave you alone. We're bringing your guy in. And dude, honestly, I think this has always been their move. I think that's what they did with Mike Pence. I think he was a deep state guy that they brought in for the
So you think
purpose of
Vance
kind of
is
like.
as bad as a Mike Pence?
No, not on cultural stuff. I just, if you mean by as bad as, like he's not boring. He's not like a complete. I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough about
Flies
him.
don't fall asleep on his forehead.
Right, and he's a younger guy. He's probably whatever cooler with Gen Z.
I
or
need to
whatever,
do more
but-
digging into Vance because he's got a lot of things that I find enticing, but I don't know that much about him.
Look, I'm really trying to keep an open mind because I don't, like I said, I don't want this to be the awful conspiracy that it could be. But I'm listening to Peter Thiel right now on Rogan. But Rogan brings in spooks all the time. So, but I want these guys not to be evil villains. But man, there's just like a little bit, like there's always a little bit with Elon or with Tucker
Right.
or with Alex Jones or with
There's
JD
always
Vance.
that 1 out of 6 to 10 things, like 10 good,
Right.
1 bad, 6 good,
You
1
guys
bad.
say lots of cool stuff, but looks
the
like
bad
like your
ones are
track
really
record-
like.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just it makes me not able to get fully on board with anybody. That's all. Like I'm down with the 6 things. Keep saying them, and I'll keep promoting them. And the 1 out of the 6, I'm gonna keep saying. But also that thing. What the fuck's going on with that thing? And that's why we don't have a following. But JC says fake super chat. To some people who woke up in 2015, Trump was their Ron Paul, and I get that. Like you weren't paying attention at all, and then somebody was finally saying something different. And even Michael Moore said the same thing. You're gonna vote for him, and it's gonna feel good because he's talking to you.
I'm beginning to think that the news isn't telling me the truth. Yeah, I mean that's great.
I mean, I wasn't that much ahead of that curve. Like, I've missed the Ron Paul days. Unfortunately, I had a Ron Paul sticker on my laptop. I didn't know anything about him. Didn't know anything about libertarianism. Then Donald Trump made me go, what's politics all about? And I was like, oh, that's what politics are all about. And then started getting more obsessed with this shit than is healthy for anybody to do. So I don't recommend it. But, yeah.
You crammed a lot in such a short time. You're doing good, dude.
Thanks. I'm trying. Now, let's see what else we got here. Oh, we've got Ben Stiller endorsing Kamala Harris and being questioned on why. Let's get this nugget here. Just
Nazi fag.
Just for the fun of it.
Good. You mind answering just a quick question why you came and what you like about Harris' platform? And
Just very excited about moving forward and all the energy and excitement that's around this movement right now. So that's why I'm here, because
psyched.
It's time for change, and it seems like it's happening.
you think she'll be able to sustain the momentum post-convention?
For sure.
You think the race is going to be close?
It's going to be close, but everybody's motivated to work and make it happen. So.
Close. Sure to be close. Of course. Of course it'll be close.
Yeah.
But she'll definitely take it.
Ben
Because of
Stiller
the
strikes me
movement.
as somebody who does not give a single shit about politics and just takes the paycheck and says as little as possible to get by. Like, he'll show up at the thing and be like, yeah, she's got a lot of excitement, and I'm here for change. What am I supposed to say? I don't know. I just want to go make my movie, and please don't cancel me for Tropic Thunder. And, which is something that comes up at least once a year. But, yeah, for him to be like, I'm just ready for change. So I decided that the person who's in office right now should stay in office. Because change. Dave, you're froze on change. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I heard
You're
it.
good now. You're back.
Yeah. That's just the audacity of the guy. To the incumbent, the woman who essentially, if the guy who's checked out either mentally
I'm ready for
or
something
sitting
new,
at the beach.
just like the old.
Right. We need some change. We need the exact person who's been there. It's the change we need.
That's right. Now, Dave, I don't have a lot of structure here. I've got several more things, but you heard about this this Kamala Harris interview that's finally happening. The famed interview. I'm calling it. I've dubbed it last night. The Kamala Harris's big girl interview, because that's what we do around here now. Joe Biden had his big boy press conference. Now Kamala Harris is finally doing her big girl interview, but also in her big girl interview, she has decided that she needs to do it with Dana, what's her name? Dana Lash?
Dana Bash.
Dana Bash. Dana, who cares? Dana, I was working entirely for your campaign, and I will give you the most softball interview ever. And they're going to pre-record it. It's not going to be live, so you can't do it on the fly to sit in and fill in any of the gaps that she might have. And people are not happy with it. People that were somehow allowed to speak on CNN. Here's this.
Is the line now going to be, well, why isn't she doing it by herself?
Yeah, I do think people are going to bring that up. Look, I have great confidence in Dana and CNN to do this. I think it's incredibly weak sauce to show up with your running mate. The fact that they don't have enough confidence in her to let her sit herself, the actual top of the ticket, and do a single interview. In fact, I think the hand-wringing and the gyrations over this over the last month show a troubling lack of confidence in her political ability, which also makes you wonder as a voter, well, what kind of president would you be if this kind of a small-time decision, can we do an interview or not, what does that look like for your decision-making process, so on? So, I think Republicans are going to think it's pretty weak to show up with effectively someone to take up half the time.
Weak. And he's not wrong, but let's not pretend like this is any different than Joe Biden. The only difference is Joe Biden wouldn't dare bring his vice president to help him, even though he couldn't physically speak. He still wouldn't bring the vice president along to help him fill in the gaps.
Oh, well, he wants the microphone. No, this is what the Libertarian Party did with Bill Weld. Always put him next to Gary because Gary was fucking high off his rocker.
Sure.
So you got to put the neocon next to him so that he can give Hillary Clinton a wink and a nod when CNN invites them on. There
I've got him ready. He's on the list for today. Have you heard the latest from former Libertarian candidate for vice president Bill Weld? So another Republican, this comes from an anonymous source. We won't say who it is. Another Republican is putting country over party. Donald Trump, I don't have a Bill Weld impersonation. I wasn't doing this at the time, otherwise I would. And I haven't heard him speak ever since, just like Gary Johnson and Joe Jorgensen. He says, Donald Trump belongs nowhere near the White House. With democracy hanging in the balance in this election, I'm standing with Kamala Harris to defeat Donald Trump and his attacks on our democratic institutions. Donald Trump doesn't represent moderate Republicans' safe beliefs in freedom, democracy, and the Constitution. Former Governor Bill Weld. I also think it is funny to mention who this comes from, because it is our good boy Joshua Reed Eagle, fed to the stars, and he's calling. He's using this as a win because he's voting for Kamala Harris as a very principled libertarian. He's voting for Kamala Harris based on absolutely nothing, and he's like, here's another Republican who is putting country over party and voting for Kamala Harris. He doesn't even mention that he was the Libertarian vice presidential candidate, and also that he's been a shit Republican who voted for Hillary Clinton and pushed for Hillary Clinton when she was on the ticket against the guy that he was running with. This is our Republican example of the guy that, since Bill Weld is not even a Libertarian, again, Republican, and he's voting for Kamala, that means Kamala good. Oh, God, it's amazing.
Unbelievable, bro. That's a total white pill. And that lends credibility to me that Donald Trump, there's something good about that campaign or whatever. Like if Bill Weld is anti-you, we know who Bill Weld is. Bill Weld is deep state. Bill Weld is Raytheon. Bill Weld is Hillary Clinton. We know who he is. We know who Joshua Reed Eagle is and what he represents. You don't even have to know if he's a Fed or not, because you know what his actions are. They're Fed-like. Mm-hmm. So we know what you are all about. So if you're that upset about Trump, not only does it make me want to vote for him because it will feel good, but shit like that makes me think that I'm actually doing something good because you're so awful. It's encouraging, I'll say.
Yeah, and we will have a little bit more libertarian news toward the end because we got a couple chasing cops to get to. Of course we do. But before we do that, I want to give you guys... So Kamala Harris is doing this interview. She's doing this big girl interview with a wingman, and here is the latest from Kamala Harris's wingman for her one and only interview so far.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Libertarians rally around I don't think there's a guarantee to free speech. If it's disinformation or hate speech, that's a completely different thing from free speech. Now, if there is any value to having free speech in our country, it is specifically and only for unpopular and not savory opinions. If everybody agrees, then we don't need to have free speech because we're all in agreement that Kamala Harris is amazing. Now, if disinformation is outlawed by Tim Walz, as he seems to want, that means that lying is outlawed. Lying is a crime now. Not even lying. Not even just lying. You can just be wrong about a thing, and it can be a crime. You can think that something is not what it is. You can legitimately think that and go to jail because you have shared that disinformation with the world. And Tim Walz believes that if you are wrong, you should be in jail. If you think wrong think. Is this ringing any bells, y'all? Wrong think should be jailed. And we're seeing it in, Great Britain and all around the world, at Canada, certainly, and other countries, Australia, where wrong think is now becoming a thing. It is not Orwellian. It is current and modern mainstream opinions to think that if you think racist thoughts, or if you notice the differences in different groups of people, or if you, say that January 6th was not exactly what the mainstream media tells you, or, the monkeypox vaccine, or throwback to whatever other vaccines, if you're wrong, Joe Rogan should be in jail right now, according to Tim Walz. That's the Libertarian guy for you.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this is terrifying. We played the videos on these shows from UK, and I'm sure New Zealand has done similar stuff, Australia, but that's make no mistake, that's what they want to do here. Surely, that's why it's so important that
it's not a conspiracy theory. He said it on the news. He said it in an interview.
And look, when Donald Trump comes out and goes, I'm going to throw somebody in jail for a year for burning a flag because it's the American flag and I love it. Let me hug it. So that's terrifying.
Hate speech. Right? Hate speech against our beautiful flag.
We don't want him to do that. So I get what you're saying. If you were like, oh, look, both sides are enemies of free speech. Okay, fair point. But at least Donald Trump will listen to you. You can't get Kamala Harris on the horn. I'm saying, and I think he wants to
Kennedy
be liked.
couldn't get Kamala Harris on the horn. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., former Democrat, and family.
But if Tulsi Gabbard and Elon and Tucker and RFK are sitting with Trump going, okay, man, we all love America. That's why we're here. But let me explain why you can't throw somebody in jail and why that's bad. That's a bad precedent that will enable your enemies. Somebody needs to explain that to him, and there's a much greater chance of that happening than Kamala Harris does not give a fuck. As Vivek pointed out on Twitter earlier, she is not a communist. Stop calling her that. That's like when the left calls everybody a Nazi. Stop doing that. Yeah. She is a corporatist whore who will say whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, that's what she's saying.
She's a politician's skin suit. She is a reptilian. It doesn't matter what her skin color is because it's not real. She is green on the inside.
Right. So she might be pushing some DEI and some communistic, fascistic, stuff. But that's
only because it benefits her right now. Right. Just like the open borders / build the wall rhetoric that we've gotten from her, and the pro-cop, anti-cop, end all cops, and also we need more cops. It's no different. It's much worse than Alex Jones, because it is all of these people are doing is saying whatever's convenient at the time. Nobody is telling the truth. Nobody is just saying the thing at the time, and that's been my biggest, if not only, complaint with Donald Trump, is that it's not just the thing at the moment and being honest about it. Now, I did want to play this clip from the DNC. Once again, perhaps somebody saying the quiet part too loud.
We got 70 days to act right, y'all.
That's right.
Now, after 7 days, we can go back there and crazy. Right?
That's it.
Thank you. I did not see that. That's great. Listen, you guys got to fucking
keep it
button it up
for
the
one
next 70,
second, okay?
Just it.
It's
y'all
tough,
fucking
y'all.
this up.
We're going to go back to nuts when Donald Trump wins this thing. Don't you worry. But we just got to get through this and hope that it's not Donald Trump. because Donald Trump doesn't let us go nuts as much.
Dude, listen.
It doesn't help that it's a panel of all black dudes. I didn't mean to do black voice for that. I don't know what this panel was for, but I didn't say the thing. They said the thing, okay?
Bro, we have a bunch of Democratic Socialists of America that endorsed a bunch of Delaware, probably like 8 of them, like state house members. And one of them, her name is Medina something. She's a Muslim. I don't know, like her country of origin or her story or whatever, but I follow her on Twitter now because she's out here she's like live tweeting during, I guess it was like a Kamala rally or something like that. And bro, they're not having it. Like, she's like, oh man, her timing is cringe. Like, she needs to go to an acting class. This is bad. These are like your own people. I'm telling you right now, if you're a betting man, bet on Trump. They are not, this person is not, look at CNN, how that clip you were playing earlier, dude. You can tell with Stephen Colbert, you can tell with Jon Stewart, they do not have the corporate endorsement. She does not have AIPAC's endorsement. She is not, they're going to raise money with her and they're going to parade her around and have her do as little amount of press as possible and go, oh, we gave it a great shot. And then they're going to start fundraising off Donald Trump, just how they do their game. But telling you, I'd bet everything. And I've been really wrong about presidential elections, so keep that in mind. But I just don't see it. I think that
you bet everything that Donald Trump's got this in the bag.
I think that he is the establishment pick.
I know.
He's the established.
I know, and that's the thing, right? Like I thought that he wasn't the pick in the beginning, and he ended up being the pick, and then I thought there was no way that Joe Biden was going to beat him, and then Joe Biden beats him, and now it's like, obviously he's got this in the bag. But that doesn't make me trust him more. It seems like if there's any sort of democratic process here that is actually in effect, it seems like he does have it in the bag. And it also seems like, per the corporate shit, that he also has it in the bag, which makes me skeptical that he has it in the bag, unless I believe that it's all rigged and they want me to believe that he has it in the bag, which I think is more so the case. So, which makes me trust him less too, and makes me less hopeful. I don't know. It's a vicious schizophrenic spiral.
I know. I'm telling you, though, this is definitely, I've been to almost every state. This is Trump country. He probably won that other one, but he should win this other one. That's another thing we haven't considered, is that if they're like, oh, Kamala is the victor, president of the United States.
Yeah.
They definitely ganked that. I mean, you can tell right now. Then they might be doing the old do a Civil War thing with that, because that would really, I think people understand fully that guy, again, somebody in the chat who has a bear post, just like, yo, he took a bullet for democracy, I think is what he said.
Sure.
But yeah, he's a living folk hero. He's definitely more popular than Kamala Harris. To pretend any otherwise is silly. And if they tried to pull that, I think that might do something awful to the heartland. But no, man, I'd bet on Trump at this point. But I do think
if you wanted to spin Donald Trump into a children's book folk hero type thing, it'd be a hell of a lot easier than Kamala Harris at this point.
Oh my God.
It's like Kamala Harris went from cop, lock everybody up for weed, and keep people in prison past their sentences, and keep people on death row, and this and that, lock people up for weed while you're smoking weed. And then she goes to a politician that nobody liked, and then she goes to a politician that hip-hop girls are shaking their ass for, and so now we like her because fireworks and explosions. While Donald Trump, I mean, per their story that they have laid out for us, has been quite the victim, the underdog. They made us believe that a billionaire was the most oppressed man in the country, while they tore him down in every way that they possibly could, only to build him back up again, send him through a assassination attempt, and then get everybody who has any rational thought behind him. It's definitely a good story. Now, we've got more. But JC says, fake super chat, your response to JoJo's black-pilled tweet was gold fire. And that is on the list. We're going to get to it because we definitely got to get into Chase a Cop. Before we get into Chase a Cop, though, I want to warn you, don't leave before the ad, because the ad is what pays the bills. Thank you, Lone Star Injury Attorneys. But after the ad, we're going to get into something that is hard to watch, hard to stomach, and should be shown. Might get me kicked off of YouTube, I don't know, but something that needs to be brought up a little bit. So just forewarning, if you want to take a 10-minute break, you might be fine. If you want to stick around and see what is actually going on in the world, please do, and we'll see how YouTube handles it. But here is our sponsor. Please go support them if you've got any problems, because they are supporting us in all of ours. Thanks. Have you or a loved one been injured by some fucknuggets, reckless driving, a tumble at your shitty job, or some other form of dumb shit outside of your control? Well, fear not, because today's episode is sponsored by a lawyer. Lone Star Injury Attorneys is an award-winning personal injury law firm that achieves maximum results for its injured clients. Max the Axe is not just a lawyer, but a hardcore Mises Caucus Libertarian and also a big supporter of this show and all of our bullshit. Max is the best personal injury lawyer in Texas, but don't judge him by his occupation or location. Max is an avid defender of liberty and justice in whatever state you got fucked in. If you've been injured and your ass needs saving, go with the pros at Lone Star Injury Attorneys. Visit LoneStarInjuryAttorneys.com or Google Max the Axe. Consultations are free and you don't pay a single dime unless you win. Once again, go to LoneStarInjuryAttorneys.com and get your ass covered. Yay! Seems like awkward applause for that setup, but yes, we are back, and we're going to talk about everybody's favorite, most wholesome topic, abortion. Dave, hold on. Abortion, yay!
Let's go.
Nazi fag. Shut up.
All the things.
Silly woman.
We're going to talk about abortion just for a second, because there was a clip that, we go in a circle here, and we bring it back around to Alex Jones again, because Alex Jones popped up and shared some undercover abortion footage over the last week, and it is not fun. Not fun, not good for the soul. This is not the feel-good content, but I do think it's...
Does this got body parts and crap in it, dude?
Yep, it does, so feel free to look away if you're not down.
I'm not into that. Yeah,
I'm not into that, Dave. I don't think most people are into it, except for maybe Hillary Clinton, but I'm not into it. But just know that I think it's important to address, because keeps being brought up as the number one issue. And when I was a child, this was the number one issue. My conservative Christian family, the only issue that mattered is who's anti-abortion, who's pro-abortion. We go with the anti-abortion crowd, which is understandable if you believe that human babies are human babies. And I've gone back and forth on this and had lots of lengthy conversations, so I'm not just like believing it because I was raised that way. But there's plenty of reasons to think that a human life starts at conception, or at least sometime before the birthing canal. And now we have, as we mentioned a couple weeks ago, we have abortion vans, food trucks at the DNC that are just abortion on demand. It went from safe, legal, and rare to shout your abortion, show up, and get it done for free, because this is everybody's right to do this. It has... I bring this up mostly because I feel like the Republicans are fucking sucking on this at the moment. I feel like the Republicans once again have gone, hey, we're 10 years behind the Democrats again, and now we've got Donald Trump. I know that it's a big issue on whether or not Donald Trump gets elected. If you're playing into the political monster that is politics, Donald Trump has to address this issue, and he has to play both sides to some degree, but Donald Trump's being kind of a bitch on it. He's kind of thrown it back to the states, which I know is more libertarian. It is a step in the right direction. It's better for it to be illegal in some places than illegal everywhere, in my opinion. But we also have the Libertarian candidate, Chase Oliver, who is just pro-abortion, pro-choice. It's your body, your choice. The baby's body doesn't matter. Of course, as libertarians, the right of the woman to choose what happens to her body is important, but also that assumes that the human life that you are defending inside the nap in this very, very closed-minded theological construction, that human life is not a human life that deserves the nap also. So we've got Chase Oliver, the guy that we're being told that we're supposed to support because, he's got libertarian in his name. And then you've got Donald Trump being on it, and then you've got Kamala Harris being completely for it. But it is a big issue that needs to be addressed to some degree. And again, this is graphic. I'm sorry if I rambled for the 10 minutes and you just got back. We're actually going to do it now, and feel free to look away if you want to. But I do think it is important to show here. So we're gonna watch this a little bit.
And its body parts sold with audio play. If you won't stand up for the babies, who's going to stand up for you?
So that's enough. Sorry, Dave.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, like, I felt sick seeing it the first time, and if you don't feel sick, like, there's not a lot. Like, I can watch decapitation videos on Twitter and not feel too much, but when you see an innocent human life that had no chance at anything just because of most likely convenience, when you see that, and tell me that's a clump of cells. Tell me that's a clump of cells that's there with all the parts intact, and tell me that Donald Trump is right for being and he's supposed to be the voice of the complete opposite of the Democrats, who are like all abortions all the time, sometimes after birth. Look it up. I know Donald Trump talks about it all the time, but it is true that there were some people who were pushing for that. I know it's not as common, but you know what else is not very common? Cases of rape, incest, or the other one. Those things aren't very common. So if we're going to talk about what's not very common, rape, incest, and the life of the mother, the exceptions that Donald Trump has, I think that those, well, statistically, those are not very common. And there is an argument to be made there. There's a conversation to be had within those three parameters, but outside of that is not what the vast majority of them are. They are, I'm not ready for this, and I made a bad choice, and now I regret it, and now I'm going to take this life. So if we can just focus on that part. Dave, I know you come from a completely different background. Like we've talked about I don't trust RFK Jr. and Trump, and I've got an aversion to Trump because of my conservative background or whatever. You come from a more like atheist Democrat background, and I imagine that this was less taboo for you growing up. But have things changed as time has gone on, and you've seen like what exactly that is, or were you? I don't know. Have your views changed over the years, Dave?
Man, yeah, my views have changed over the years. Definitely, 180'd, as a matter of fact. I'm definitely not like a warrior on this. Dude, like when it comes to, footage like that, or stuff that you'll see on Twitter. The only platform you'll see that is on Twitter, by the way. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying the only place that you'll get.
It's correct.
Yeah,
people need to see it.
Right. So
because
it's the only place you'll be strolling and you'll see like a funny meme that your buddy shared, and the next thing is like some poor guy carrying his dead baby in Yemen, or excuse me, like Palestine or Yemen.
Yelling at his dog. We need hold.
So sorry.
I'm going to put in hold music, but it's just going to be dogs barking for when you mute to yell at your dog. I'm just going to have a sound effect that's dogs barking on repeat, so it doesn't make any difference at all. It's okay. The dogs can bark. That's my point here, Dave. Go ahead.
So anyway, abortion.
Yeah.
The worst.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't care. Hold on one second.
Dog, I'm trying to solve the world's issues here. I'm trying to save human lives, and you won't shut up because you need to go poop.
I don't even think they need to go poop because they're good.
Yeah, they're just dogs.
Yeah. No, man. I have a hard time with like, the graphic stuff. I never was the kid who watched Faces of Death as a kid. I don't like that stuff. I don't know how Scott Horton deals with, half the footage that he has to probably look at, on a given day. I really think that this stuff affects your soul, man. And we tackle enough subjects that are just enough, like to see it. I really try and, maybe this is cowardly, but yeah, I try and spare myself. Sure. This is one of the things that I probably kept me fiercely atheist and pro-choice and in that bubble for so long. I hated the guys who would just be outside of Planned Parenthood with like those kinds of pictures.
Yeah.
I resented that driving
I'm not a fan
by.
of that. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of what I did, but I did give you very ample warning and did not scream in your
sure.
face while you're going through a traumatic
This
time
is your
or whatever.
This is your show, and we're going to talk about it, and I'm totally okay with that. And I even have a slightly different view of those guys these days. I won't reach out of the car and yell at them now. You know what I mean? I still don't appreciate it. I think there's better ways. But that aside, these are just like my.
I just want if anybody who's like under a certain age where that wasn't a thing, where they haven't encountered those, like this used to be, the Democrats were safe, legal, and rare. It was much bigger of an issue. Like the Democrats were like, this needs to be rare. Now they're like, this needs to be everywhere. Everybody's for abortion,
and that's like I think everybody knows the reason that this persists and grows, and that's because we have a culture of death. The whole you can't spend all of your money. You guys know what money is. It's all of your energy, all of your resources, running for the war machine, the death machine. Like you can't be like doing like good humanitarian work and murder work.
Yeah,
it is a death machine. So.
It's also
if your whole culture is in that, really quick, if your whole culture is spent in that, and your whole culture is spent on feeling good with consumer goods and items instead of relationships and religion and God, then what do you expect? What's the only thing that's going to make you feel good? So yeah, that's why it's easy to witness death, and it's easy to kill now your own and your own people. This is all about the dehumanization of everything, man, so that they can make us commodities.
Do you know what came before all of this? Satanism, where they were like, do what thou wilt, and that shall be the whole of the law, and it's all about you and all of the inconveniences of life. It is your responsibility to make it so you are the end all be all. Yeah. I mean, it is gross. It is gross. It's soul hurting to see. I don't like sharing it. I debated whether or not I even should share it, but now we are living in 2024 where it's like the Democrats aren't saying safe, legal, and rare. They're pulling up trucks, and the Libertarians, I wouldn't put it past them to do the same because they're just completely pro-choice. And I understand that there's what's the proper solution to what's the libertarian answer to abortion? Well, I think the libertarian answer to abortion, yes, it is being squashed by government solutions. And I don't think government has the best solution. I don't think abortion is the best solution to an unexpected pregnancy. I feel like we have, if there was less, government overreach in exploration of different options, we would have found a better answer by now. But we're not living in that reality. We're living in the reality where the answer is keep the baby or kill the baby. And everybody, including Donald Trump to a certain degree, is saying, yeah, kill the baby at some point. Now, whether or not you think that point is right or wrong, just know that every single candidate on the ballot, everyone, including the Libertarian, and to some degree, Donald Trump is pushing for what I just showed you there. And Donald Trump is the best on it, certainly, just like George W. Bush was the best on it too, and nothing happened under him. Donald Trump at least kicked it back to the states, which is a start, so take any win that you can get, any lesser of it. I don't like the idea of people being arrested for medical choices, but I would have a hard time finding somebody to put it past who has that big of an issue with somebody being arrested for murder. So if you can finally ever find it in your soul to believe that there is a decent chance that thing that looks like a human, sounds like a human, behaves like a human, and will eventually grow into human is not just a clump of cells, but actually a human, then maybe the nap applies to them too. If you believe that libertarian is the end-all be-all, that's why some libertarians think that abortion is exactly what it is, which is killing a baby. So, yeah, fun times.
So real quick, are you comfortable saying, like if a woman takes the what do they call it, the night after pill or the day after pill?
Plan
If she
B
took
shit?
that
Morning after?
if she morning after pill. If she takes the morning after pill, are you okay calling that murder?
There's the gray area a little bit there. I not necessarily, because you don't necessarily even know if they got pregnant at that point. I don't know.
No, well, let's say that she's pregnant though, but it's 2 days later.
I don't know. It's a tough one. I don't like it. And also, Donald Trump's exceptions, I am open to the conversations on those too. That is tough. Like if you got raped or if there's incest or for the life of the mother, like if my wife was... If I had definitive evidence that my wife would either die or the baby would die, I'm going to have a hard time not choosing the person that I know over the person that I don't know. It's a Sophie's choice type of thing where it's like, I love you both. And if it's definitively one of you has to die, I'm going with the person that I know. So I'm not saying that I'm like some
not just the
purist.
person that you know, and I would agree with you, and I think that's probably the right decision. But it's not just because you know her. There's something more of value in the universe to her than I would say. I don't know how. Like this is a hard conversation.
Yeah,
and I am pro-life. I think that you should, unless I don't know what the case is that they're listing there, but yeah, you should have your baby if you get pregnant. I believe that. But my next
err on the side of not killing the baby at the very least, and we're not really to that point in any capacity.
I just wanted to make a point earlier. We were talking about how, the Libertarian Party's flaws and how it can be steered by certain interests, left or right. And this was probably the perfect example, man. Because nothing drives the left or the right like this issue. This is the number one football that both political parties use against their
and they both have
their demographic.
Like
right.
The left is like, it's all about you. You go, girl. You do you, and keep the government out of your bedroom. And then the Republicans are like, but it's murder too. So they both have an own.
But they both can fundraise off that, and that's why they both probably aren't willing to do really anything. And you know, to Trump's point, he is a political monster, and he is, like Quentin Tarantino would say, here to win the game. So it's a fact that you can't come out as a candidate and go, I am for outlawing abortion across the board, blah, blah, blah. That you will lose. So I'm not telling you just to say it or not say it. I'm just saying like you'll lose. But back to the Libertarian Party real quick. I used to think that this is one of the issues. Well, I used to think that this was like a way to say, oh, we're like so much better than the other two parties because we're so much bigger than you guys that we're willing to like look past that. And we have a party that has pro-life and pro-choice people. But I think that really does, man. I'm glad you brought this up today because I think it is a thing that leaves us perpetually open to the powers that be to kind of steer where you want, because this is literally for the Democrats. I don't know about Republicans, but definitely Democrats. The only thing they have to say is abortion rights are on the line. Yeah, that's all they have to do. They don't even have to go into fucking teachers union stuff. They don't have to go into whatever canceling college debt. All they got to do is say abortion, and like people will come running, dude. So most people are single issue voters. This is the thing that animates literally everybody. They have opinions that aren't really movable. So I think the Libertarian Party, just to put a bow on this, I think the Libertarian Party should probably at some point make a decision, say something bold in this.
I think it's a pretty big divider. It should be a pretty big divider in the party, like whether or not you believe that life is life. If you're going to be the arbiters of like, we are the ones who are for non-aggression. This is a big one that you got to fucking figure out. Is it aggression or is it not? Because if it is aggression, it's the worst act of aggression possible, killing an innocent life. And if it's not aggression, then I guess go that way. So yeah, if it splits the party, it makes sense because it split the other two parties. And it's kind of like one of the biggest issues that both the parties have been bringing up as long as I've been alive. So maybe figure that out and, decide what y'all want to do here. Because
listen,
some people say it's anti-libertarian to be pro-choice. Some people say it's anti-libertarian to be pro-life. So it's a big divider.
It definitely is. One of the things that I listed for the Trump's promises to libertarians on Twitter the other day was that he kicked it back to the states. Like he got rid of Roe v. Wade.
Sure.
And that is, as you said, not everything, but a huge move in the right direction. And it's not enough for some people, but
and
I think
Joe
that's
Biden
the
kick
best.
it right back or
that's
something?
the best you're going to get.
Or is that what they're
What's that?
pushing for? Didn't Joe Biden like kick it right back? I don't know. I'm not getting an abortion, so I don't keep up on the latest.
I don't
as
know.
far as where I can get an abortion, but I feel like Joe Biden was working really hard to overturn it, and I'm sure Kamala Harris will do that too. Chase Oliver would too, by the way. So for what it's worth.
Yeah. Well, again, yeah. I mean, if this is your number one issue, then yeah, nobody's really speaking for you.
I think it's worth mentioning because the Trump team is getting a whole lot of wins lately. But if you just like reflect a little bit, especially boomers, like reflect a little bit on why you were a Republican in the first place. If this was your number one issue, if if the war in Afghanistan, the war in Ukraine, war in Iran, war wherever we feel like going to war, if all that was not like you were still a Republican there, okay, because your one issue was abortion. If your one issue was abortion, your guy's not very good on it. He's better than the others on it, from your perspective, I would imagine. But is he still good on it? Just be honest. That's all. Tell the truth. And
you know who Trump should talk to on this issue? A guy who is a lifelong the people and a career gynecologist, delivered over 4,000 babies. He should talk to Ron Paul about what he thinks.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Fauci, but yeah.
Oh, I don't know if he delivered any babies. God, I hope not.
Yeah, he probably just put them down. Yeah, also RFK Jr., for what it's worth, yes, great. He's a former Democrat supporting Donald Trump, and he also earlier this year came out and was like, all abortions are fine. And then they were like, are you sure? And he was like, no, not all abortions are. Is that what that's what you were wanting me to say, right? Not all abortion. Yep, that's good enough. Good enough for Republicans. Go ahead.
You know what, man? If you want to switch the subject, we can, but you brought up abortion. But I'll just say, like, I am a person who used to be adamantly pro-choice. Yeah. And Ron Paul is the reason that I am not.
Yeah.
So if people doubt that shit, if they doubt, like, that's the way to convert people. It is not to shout at them. It is not to, like, be like, this is the only way, or, like, even show picture. He never did any of that. He wasn't on the side of the Planned Parenthood, like protesting.
Yeah.
He made his opinion known, but there's a way to do it. There's a way to convince people. And I'm so grateful for that. Like I literally changed my mind on, as you said, dude, such an important issue.
Yeah.
I'm no longer nihilistic in that way. And it didn't come from somebody like shouting at me or like, it took a little bit
the other
of time.
way for a long time. I was like, let's talk about this. Like, yeah, I care about the women too. I'm not just like, abortion's murder, you're bad, you're an evil person. I understand that this is a big decision that most people don't come to lightly, but the way the culture is going is you should come to it lightly. You should make this decision if you just feel like you don't want to have a baby right now. And I have a problem with that.
Absolutely. And it's so hard to talk about. I mean, thank goodness people don't know what a woman is these days. So just because we don't have a uterus, we're allowed to have an opinion because we don't know what a woman is. But it used to be that if you didn't have a uterus,
Dave, I feel like abortions per capita have been cut in half since men can be women now. So because men won't at least be getting abortions. We did have that one a couple of weeks ago that was like, I am a woman and I want to be impregnated so that I can have an abortion as biological male.
It sucks that like the sexual revolution happened at the same time as like, I mean, I'm doing the Chaos book right now that Candace Owens recommended.
I have it. Is it worth it?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a couple hours deep into it and it's great, but like it definitely talks, it exposes how, like a seemingly peaceful love movement was hijacked by like MK Ultra, deep state, Satanist, like I mean, we already talked about Roman Polanski today, but like, yeah, dude, this is the whole Manson shit. It's fucking crazy. So like the roots of like free love or whatever, you're still seeing like that gets warped into like the kind of just like smut that you see today because of the satanic MK Ultra programming that you've gotten sprinkled throughout your shit and cranked up throughout time with the 5th generation warfare and stuff. It's you got to be primed for that stuff. So when you see that lady out there who's foaming at the mouth, I've had 40 abortions. It's like, oh my God, like I'm cool using the term possessed. Yeah. You're like, like you're possessed. I'm okay with using that terminology. But yeah, it's a crazy turn today, bro. You brought it up. I'm sorry if I offended anybody, and I know I don't have a uterus, but we got to change the culture. That ultimately, like, that's why I believe that the 10th Amendment is the best way to do this. The answer is not to come up with a federal agency that fucking kicks people's doors down.
Sure.
And I know that will take longer, but you have to go the Ron Paul route. You have to change the way people think about the thing growing inside them. If they always think that it's just a commodity or property or a parasite, you will always lose. They have to cherish it first.
I'm not voting for abortion. I'm showing you a clip to hopefully change culture a little bit and give you just a little bit of meat to chew on. Maybe that's not the best verbiage to use, but a little bit of meat to chew on. And I believe that as libertarians, it's important to note that this entire message was brought to you by these guys.
Chase. C-H-A-S-E. Chase. Chase.
All right, it is Chase and Cop. We all know what it is. So we dig deeper into the Libertarian candidates as nobody else will. We do have a fake super chat before we get to that. Christo says, fake super chat, the abortion issue is all about fundraising. It's a wedge issue where both sides can raise funds on the backs of dead babies. Nobody intends to offer a solution. And I would say that even the Libertarian candidates aren't really offering a solution. They're saying it should be perfectly fine to remain. They're not saying what I said of like, I feel like there's probably a better way that we haven't even thought of yet. I don't know what it is. I'm not pretending I do, but I feel like there's something that we haven't quite figured out that is, able to keep somebody from getting impregnated and also not killing a human. But that's just me. So I don't know what the answer is. That's how you know I'm not lying, because I don't know. Now, we got to talk about some libertarians now. Jo Jorgensen put out a post earlier yesterday. She put out this post saying, "I don't know who will win the election year. I know who will lose. America."
You're funny, bro.
Thank you. I don't know if that tweet was thought any more through than the actively anti-racist tweet that was posted by somebody else. I don't know who posted this or whatever, but I understand the sentiment, but you realize how it sounds for the former Libertarian presidential candidate to say, I don't know who will win, but I know who's going to lose, and it's going to be all of us. So she's not saying directly, she's not being honest enough to say that the Libertarian candidate is going to lose. I have to, based on the verbiage that she put out in her own campaign, where she said that she was going to win, or she had a shot at winning, I have to assume that Chase Oliver has a shot of winning. And if Chase Oliver has a shot of winning, Jo Jorgensen apparently thinks America's going to lose even still. So I don't know. Maybe she should have... As the former Libertarian candidate, good on her for finally weighing in on anything in life. And I think we mentioned this on Tuesday. Where are these people? Where are the Gary Johnsons in the world? Where are the Jo Jorgensens? They just kind of pop up every now and then to make say things where we're like, that's kind of stupid. Or the Bill Welds, he comes around on election season. Gary Johnson, I'm curious if he's posted anything, but you got any thoughts on Jo Jorgensen's what inspiration the Chase Oliver campaign has given former Libertarian candidate Jo Jorgensen? Dave?
Listen, First of all, this bitch needs to shut the fuck up. I can't believe she had the audacity to say something like that. To which I did retweet that. I quote tweeted it and asked her why she endorsed Chase Oliver for Senate. Like, that's good enough. He's good enough to be one of 100 senators, but you won't endorse him for president. Kind of sus. But yeah, but like, yeah, just like you pointed out, like you were the last Libertarian Party nominee. Like, how about you just at least aren't you supposed to lie like everybody else is and like promote the person or the party?
Like, if you're gonna do the lie, you got to keep the lie going. You can't just drop it when you're not running.
Right. Can you imagine if she tweeted that in 2020? Like, hey, listen, guys,
I don't know who's winning. We're sure shit
You're
losing.
all gonna lose. Listen, you can vote for me, but we are all fucked. That's it. That would have been great if Joe Jorgensen would have said that in 2020. Instead, we played that game. But no, this is funny because yeah, again, nobody, not Gary Johnson, not Bill Weld, not Joe Jorgensen, nobody has endorsed Chase Oliver for president or said, hey, guys, like, you really need to take a look at this guy. He's saying some really interesting things about Termot over there putting out these daily videos. He's absolutely crushing it. Nobody's doing that. So that's sad. I'm sure that they'll blame other people, but nobody is coming out of the woodwork.
I got to ask, have you heard Gary Johnson's latest?
Gary Johnson's what? Sorry?
Have you heard Gary Johnson's latest?
No.
Okay, let's take a look. This is kind of like when we discovered Lisa and on the fly what she had to say about things in the world. We're going to look at Gary Johnson's latest posts. In July 2023, July 2nd, 2023, he said, wishing America happy birthday. You are still the greatest country, and I am proud to be an American. Thank you. Thank you. His last before that, September 24th, 2021. All of us want impaired drivers off the road. That isn't a question, but the privacy and data collection implications of requiring vehicles to have impairment sensors are just too much. And he posted a Cato Institute thing. And September 11th, 2021, he said, hard to imagine that the September 11th attacks happened 20 years ago. We saw a lot of horror that day, but I remember it bringing us together in a way I haven't seen since. We know how to rise above our differences and stand together in the face of our greatest challenges. Making a difference.
Wow.
One year at a time.
So, I mean, I
skipped 2022 in its entirety. He just skipped 2022. Right. And he has said nothing. Right. I bet he said nothing about Joe Jorgensen either. But I know that he has said nothing about Chase Oliver because, in fairness, he's a boomer and he doesn't use Twitter much. But he does have 248,000 followers that know him as they're only following him because he was a Libertarian presidential candidate. If he had valuable opinions ever, it seems like they would have come up.
No, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity to highlight, bro, is Spike Cohen, who is just a good guy who did the best thing that you could do with any kind of Libertarian Party presidential momentum. With like, he obviously, Bill Weld is out here fucking going to bat for Kamala Harris. You got Gary Johnson who disappeared into the woods to smoke some weed and probably grow his beard out or something, whatever. Who else you got? Joe Jorgensen delivering awful tweets. You know?
Oh shit, Dave.
But Spike is out here starting a great nonprofit, still bullying, cyberbullying politicians. And that's just a good homegrown hero. If the party wants to claim something, like, they kind of launched Spike Cohen, and he still, gives props to the party. He hasn't endorsed Chase, but he's still cool. So I'll say that guy did it better than anybody else.
Yeah. Now, Dave, I did have a video of Comp saying why Chase is better than Tulsi, and it's because Chase is anti-war to the core. I haven't had a chance to verify this, but it would seem like it's gone. It's gone entirely. He just deleted that one. So, you make some good choices.
Anti-war to the core.
Mm-hmm.
I saw somebody that posted, I think it was, I forget the name. But they were like, look, it was like a Mises person. was it Mises Unicorn, I think, on Twitter. And they were like, look, we're all anti-war. Like, that's why we're here. But when I hear anti-war to the core, it makes me fucking want to, like, just run away. Like, it's just... Oh, my God.
Makes me sound like you are as old as you are. It seems like that one is...
I think that's Chase's. I think he took that from Chase.
Is it really? You got our first gay millennial candidate who's got such things as anti-war to the core and hashtag chase your dreams. Now, the Tulsi video might be gone, but as of 59 minutes ago, Mike Tremont put out a new one that I have not watched yet. It's all about the next pandemic. Let's see what he's got here.
There were 2 lessons learned by America's experience during the COVID regime. First, we all learned that a government left unchecked can manipulate information for political purposes and get citizens to do some pretty weird things.
Whoa,
even against their own interests. Second, the government learned that if it plays its cards right and is left unchecked, it can manipulate information for political purposes and get citizens to do some pretty weird things, even against their own interests. There will be a next time. Which of these 2 lessons will prevail? There were 2.
That beat, though.
My God. What? The 2 lessons that we learned is that the government can manipulate you. And
how can they manipulate you? Will they manipulate you in the ways that you endorsed and that you did? Will they make you wear masks that you'll wear because you think that they're good? Will they manipulate you and say that you'll keep your distance and that you'll also do that because you were manipulated, but it's a good idea?
Will manipulate certain businesses to insist that people don't come into their stores. Yeah, the government will manipulate you. Who could have seen that coming? Hard-hitting stuff, at the very least. But we brought up Joshua Reed Eagle before, everybody's favorite Fed as of late. It's almost like he's the torchbearer of Nick Sarwark, because Nick Sarwark, I don't know if he actually faded into the background or if it's just that he blocked me on Twitter and now I don't see the bullshit that he posts. But yeah, he posted the thing about Bill Weld, but he also posted this, which I thought was worth a share. He said, me in 2012, Tea Party. Me in 2016, never Trump. Me in 2020, never Trump. Me in 2024, never Trump. Send him to the abyss. Thankfully, my political views have become far less populist and far more realist as I've aged. So he's got here, started with Ron Paul, went to Gary Johnson, Justin Amash. Okay, you following? You tracking? Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is next. The obvious leap. The obvious next step after Justin Amash. Now, we've had our issues with Justin Amash. I've also had conversations with Justin Amash and like the guy generally. Issues with Gary Johnson, certainly. There isn't any one of these guys that can start with Ron Paul and end with Kamala Harris. All you're doing is making Gary Johnson and Justin Amash look worse because you went from Ron Paul to Gary Johnson. You were in the Libertarian Party. Got it. Justin Amash, Republican outside of the Libertarian Party, but he was anti-Trump enough apparently, but obviously the next step is anti-Trump candidate Kamala Harris. Good job. That is some mental gymnastics in the political sense, if I've ever heard them. Thoughts, Dave?
Oh my God. That was just absolutely painful. Further making the case that guy is just as fed as they come. There's just, you have to be, the only way to be for Kamala Harris right now is if you're a child or you're retarded. Like that's it. So that can't be the end result
or
of
a
your
cult member.
Nobody comes to that at the end of their or the most current form of their political awakening.
There is no Ron Paul to Kamala Harris pipeline.
Oh my!
There is
there
not
is no,
anywhere.
No, exactly. That never.
Maybe Bernie Sanders. You could make the argument for Bernie Sanders, but Kamala Harris? Are you kidding me?
Right. There's nobody that's where you're at currently. Starting from Ron Paul, fuck you. It's an obvious troll. But you could look at it in reverse, maybe. Like, oh man, I was such an idiot, and then I found Justin Amash. And then somebody who wasn't so boring over here who was like kind of cool. Oh, but then you come to Ron Paul. Like it's just that's crazy. That guy triggers me. Still,
it's amazing.
He can do it.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, as far or as delusional as some of the QAnon supporters are, to be like, I went from Ronald Reagan to Donald Trump, and it makes perfect sense. You just don't get it. Sure, that makes a hell of a lot more sense than Ron Paul to Kamala Harris, or literally anybody, including Joe Biden to Kamala Harris. Like, sure, they might have the same non-policies, but y'all voted for Joe Biden over Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris got no delegates when she was running against Joe Biden. So even the jump from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris seems a bit laughable, let alone Justin Amash to Kamala Harris. I keep saying Donald Trump. Ron Paul to Kamala Harris. It's an amazing world we live in, Dave. You got any final thoughts? I think that's going to about do it for this short episode that's coming in just under 2 hours. We're really shortening them up here, Dave, and I didn't have this much planned for today, but we did get off on some rabbit trails that I think were some good conversations, and I like that we are able to do that. You got some thoughts?
I like the tone of the Thursday show, where we can just talk a little bit more. We don't talk about abortion enough, bro. So we need to do 2 days a week so we can
all abortion every Thursday. Thursday's abortion day. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, start to tackle some of that together. So no, it's good to be here, man. And Dr. Carlin, you better get out of here, bro.
That's shit.
Do I look like a destroyer of worlds? Everything I touch turns to absolute shit.
Yes, but in a different brand.
Keeps Dr. Carlin B on reserve. Bro, you guys, if he ever gets rid of me for Dr. Carlin B co-hosting duties, you abandon ship. You fucking run. You run, son.
I don't think you got to worry about that. But yeah. Where can people find you, Dave?
No, this was...
Or
you can find
thoughts?
me on...
Go ahead.
You can find me on Twitter, Dave versus Goliath 1. That'd be great. And that's pretty much it. That's the only place you can find me lately, because that's the only place that you can show abortion pictures and war pictures, and it's the only place that keeps it real enough right now, even if it's a limited hangout. Come hang out in a limited fashion. And let's do this again. Let's do this again twice next week.
We'll see how consistent we are. That's the idea. I would like to, and I would like to keep getting them a little bit shorter, a little bit less of a workload, so that we can keep up on the current things as they're current instead of waiting until, like, it seems like when I do a Wednesday episode, something drops on Thursday, which we're doing this Thursday episode, and in a couple hours, Kamala's going to give her big girl interview, and we're going to have to come back on Monday or Tuesday and talk about that again. So we're going to have to talk sooner than Wednesday, and then we'll probably have to talk at least as long as the election cycle is going on. I would like to try and aim for doing a little bit shorter stuff, a little bit tighter, more concise, conversational stuff, and also, getting in twice a week so that we can stay ahead of the stuff. We're definitely not going to like some of these hacks like Tim Pool or Dave Smith where they're doing like daily episodes now because everybody needs an entire hour about Dave talking to Nicole Shanahan or whatever. No, you need 2 hours of me and Dave talking about Dave talking to Nicole Shanahan. That is what you're here for, and that's what you got. Yep. Now, Dave, we got to end this the way we do, as we always do, even though we forgot to last time, I think. We got to end with Steve. Invent to him our woes. So here's Steve.
Hey, I'm checking in. Tell me, what's going on?
I don't know, Steve. Robert F.
Listen,
Kennedy Jr.
Steve.
Okay, Dave.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is out. Nicole Shanahan has more in common with us than Chase Oliver and Cop. How are we supposed to handle this? The shift is happening, Steve. Whether
QAnon 2024. What do you think, Steve? QAnon? We bringing that back? We running it back? We've run back like Russiagate. We've run back all the hoaxes. Why can't we run back this hoax and this psyop? Just bring back all the favorites. Can we bring back also 2016 Donald Trump when he was more spicy and fun? At least I don't have to like him. I just find it entertaining, and at the very least, you can give us that. Okay,
Steve. Why, as soon as Nick Fuentes falls out of love with Donald Trump, he starts becoming appealing to me?
hear from you.
I feel like this is really not the way it's supposed to go. I want to be better.
I don't trust it. I don't trust any of it. But we're going to talk about it. And, yeah, go listen to your boy, Donald Trump, on all the things that he's pushing. And if he says something that you don't like, just know that he said it, and to keep that in mind. It's fine. I'm not saying don't vote for the guy. I don't care who you vote for. It's all made up anyway. But I just want people to be a little bit honest, and all the pro-life fellows that taught me all those ways, just know you're getting a guy that's at least more libertarian than Republican, and some might say he's a lot like the Democrats of yesteryear, as is the trend. But thank you all for being here. Thank you for hanging out in the chats. Thank you for sitting through the uncomfortable stuff. That's what we're here to do, is shine lights on things and make jokes about things, and also be serious when we can possibly muster it. But yes, vote if you're anti-abortion. I guess don't vote Libertarian. Once again, there's another one. But yeah, thanks for being here. Follow me at dan@tsidpod.com is my email address that you can email me all your new Q drops or anything that you got going on, and I'll check them out and see if there's any bearing there. Happy to do it. Or tsidpod on Twitter, thesystemsdown.tv, or wherever the Systems Downs are sold. Thanks for being here. Stay cautiously optimistic. I hope that there's somebody out there that has our best interest in mind. So far, it hasn't quite been proven by anybody who actually wields power, but I'm still cautiously optimistic that we're not going to hell in a handbasket, as Donald Trump says we are. So, stay frosty, question everything, stay uncomfortable, be bad, have fun, tell the truth, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong.